Hey everyone, I'm Sarah, 15, and living in a posh suburb of Chicago. Right now, I'm in my room, sketching in my favorite armchair by the window when I hear my dad's car pull up. I jump up, excited to show him my latest piece. Dad, you're home early. Check this out. I call as I rush downstairs, holding up my sketchpad. My dad, James, glances over with a half smile. That's nice, sweetheart. Listen, I've got a surprise for you, he says, sounding mysterious. My heart skips a beat. Maybe he's finally letting me go to that art camp I've been begging for. But no, something else entirely is about to happen. In walks this tall, blonde woman, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. Sarah, this is Veronica. We've been seeing each other, and she's going to be staying with us for a while. I force a smile, but inside I'm freaking out. It's been just me and Dad since Mom passed away 3 years ago. We were a team. Fast forward a few weeks, and Veronica has completely taken over the house, redecorating, rearranging, and worst of all, monopolizing Dad's time. One afternoon, I'm in the kitchen with my best friend, Zoe. I swear, Zoe, it's like I don't even exist anymore. Yesterday I tried to talk to Dad about my art project, and Veronica interrupted to show him some dumb modeling photos. Zoe rolls her eyes. That sucks, Sar. Have you tried talking to your dad? I nod. Yeah, but he just says I need to give her a chance and make her feel welcome. It's like he's forgotten I live here too. Just then, Veronica strolls into the kitchen, wearing one of Dad's shirts and not much else. Oh, Sarah, didn't realize you'd be home so early. Your father and I were just napping. I cringe. This is my friend Zoe. We're working on a school project. Veronica barely glances at Zoe. That's nice, dear. Oh, by the way, I moved some of your art supplies to the garage. They were cluttering up the living room. Before I can respond, she's gone, leaving me fuming. Zoe gives me a sympathetic squeeze on the arm. Later that night, I try to talk to Dad one more time. I find him in his study, surrounded by paperwork. Hey, Dad, got a minute? I ask, hoping for some kind of connection. He looks up, distracted. Sure, honey. What's up? I was wondering if maybe we could have dinner together tomorrow night, just the two of us, like old times. He hesitates, and I already know what he's going to say. Oh, Sarah, I'm sorry. Veronica and I have reservations at that new French place. Maybe another time. I nod, swallowing my disappointment. As I turn to leave, he calls out, Actually, Sarah, we need to have a family meeting tomorrow after school. There's something important we need to discuss. A knot forms in my stomach. Something tells me this family meeting isn't going to be good news. The next day, I walk into the living room, my heart racing. Dad and Veronica are seated, looking way too serious for my liking. Sarah, honey, sit down. We need to talk, Dad says, his voice tense. I sit, bracing myself. We've decided it's best for you to attend Oak Ridge Academy, he says. It's an excellent boarding school upstate. My jaw drops. Boarding school? But why? I don't want to go. It's a wonderful opportunity, Sarah. Veronica chimes in, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. You'll get a top-notch education. Suddenly, a memory flashes in my mind. Last week, I overheard them talking in the kitchen. Veronica's voice echoed. James, I'm worried about Sarah. She's always around. Don't you think she's ruining our romance? Back in the present, I stand up, shaking. This was your idea, wasn't it? I point at Veronica. You want to get rid of me. Sarah, that's enough, Dad says sternly. This decision is final. I storm to my room, slamming the door behind me. Grabbing my phone, I call the only person who might help, Aunt Lisa. Aunt Lisa, please, you have to talk to Dad. He's sending me away. Oh, sweetie, she sighs. I'll try, but you know how stubborn your father can be. The next few days are a blur of pleading, bargaining, and tears, but nothing works. Before I know it, I'm standing in front of Oak Ridge Academy, a huge, imposing building that feels more like a prison than a school. This is for the best, Sarah, Dad says, not even looking me in the eye. You'll see. Veronica doesn't even bother to get out of the car as they drive away, leaving me feeling more alone than I've ever felt in my life. The first few weeks at Oak Ridge are a nightmare. Strict rules, demanding classes, and the gnawing homesickness. My roommate Emily is nice enough, but I miss my friends, my room, my art. One day, after getting chewed out by my history teacher for daydreaming, I text Dad. I hate it here. Please let me come home. His response comes hours later. You'll adjust. Give it time. I stare at my phone, fighting back tears. That's when I overhear a group of girls gossiping nearby. Did you hear about the new girl? Her dad shipped her off so he could shack up with his girlfriend. No way. That's so messed up. Yeah, I heard the girlfriend's barely older than us. My face burned with shame and anger. Is that what everyone thought? That I'd been tossed aside for Dad's midlife crisis? That night, lying in my narrow bed, listening to Emily's soft snores, I made a decision. If Dad and Veronica wanted me gone so badly, fine. I'd show them I didn't need them. I would excel at this school, make my own way, and never rely on them again. Months flew by, and slowly but surely, I started to find my footing at Oak Ridge. Don't get me wrong, I still miss home, but I was determined to make the best of it. One day in the cafeteria, a girl with bright blue hair plopped down next to me. You're the new kid, right? I'm Mia. I nodded, taking in her rebellious vibe. Sarah, nice to meet you. Don't let this place get you down, Maya said, gesturing around. It's all a game, and once you figure out the rules, you can bend them. Maya introduced me to her friend, Tyler, a computer genius with a heart of gold. The three of us became inseparable, and suddenly, Oak Ridge didn't seem so bad. I threw myself into my studies, determined to prove I belonged here. My grades soared, especially in art class. Miss Rodriguez, my art teacher, took me under her wing. Sarah, your work is exceptional, she said one day, examining my latest painting. Have you considered entering the National Young Artists Competition? I hesitated. I don't know. It's pretty prestigious. Exactly, Miss Rodriguez smiled. And you have the talent to win it. Meanwhile, things at home were weird. Dad's calls became less frequent, and when we did talk, he seemed distracted. Veronica was always in the background, her voice a constant reminder of why I was here. One afternoon, I was heading to Miss Rodriguez's class when I overheard two staff members talking. It's the third month James Henderson has missed the tuition payment. If this continues, we'll have to discuss Sarah's enrollment status. My heart raced. Dad was having money problems. That didn't make sense. His real estate business had always been successful. I confided in Mia and Tyler. Guys, something's not right. Can you help me dig into this? Tyler cracked his knuckles. Leave it to me. If there's dirt to be found, I'll find it. For weeks, we pored over public records and financial reports. Tyler's computer skills were a godsend, helping us navigate the complex world of business finances. Sarah, look at this, Tyler said one night, pointing at his laptop screen. These numbers don't add up. There are inconsistencies in your dad's business reports. Maya leaned in. Yeah, and look at these purchases. Designer clothes, fancy restaurants, spa treatments. Is your dad suddenly into self-care? I felt sick. That has to be Veronica. She's bleeding him dry. Despite the drama unfolding back home, I channeled my emotions into my art. Miss Rodriguez pushed me harder than ever, helping me prepare for the National Young Artists Competition. The night before the submission deadline, I put the finishing touches on my piece, a haunting portrait that captured the pain of betrayal and the strength found in independence. Weeks later, Miss Rodriguez burst into the art room, waving an envelope. Sarah, you did it. You won first place in the National Young Artists Competition. The room erupted in cheers as my classmates congratulated me. My phone buzzed with a news alert, and I froze when I saw the headline. Unknown teen prodigy wins National Art Competition. Judges stunned. Spring break finally rolled around, and I headed home, my heart a mix of excitement and dread. As the cab pulled up to our house, I knew something was off. The lawn was overgrown, and Dad's car looked like it hadn't been washed in months. Inside, the house was a mess. Takeout containers littered the kitchen, and a layer of dust coated everything. Dad emerged from his study, looking haggard and older than I remembered. Sarah, I didn't expect you to come home for break. I dropped my bag. Surprise. What's going on here, Dad? He ran a hand through his thinning hair. It's nothing. Just been busy with work. How's school? I wasn't buying it. Cut the act, Dad. I know about the missed tuition payments. What's really going on? His face fell. It's just a temporary cash flow issue. I've got it under control. That's when Veronica sauntered in, dripping in jewelry and designer clothes. Oh, Sarah, you're here. How nice. I couldn't hold back anymore. Nice clothes, Veronica. Must have cost a fortune, considering Dad can't even pay my school fees. Dad's eyes widened. Sarah, That's enough. But I was on a roll. I pulled out the documents Tyler had helped me compile. No, Dad, it's not. Look at this. Your accounts are being drained, and it's not just because of business troubles. Dad waved his hand dismissively. You don't understand business, Sarah. This is adult stuff. Oh yeah, I shot back, then explained these transactions. Designer boutiques, spa retreats, jewelry stores. Unless you've developed expensive new hobbies, I'm guessing this is all Veronica. Veronica's face twisted into an ugly sneer. You little brat, Veronica hissed, her voice sharp with venom. You have no idea what you're talking about. Don't I? Shot back, pulling out my phone and showing them the banking app. Did you really think I wouldn't notice? You added yourself to Dad's accounts. You've been siphoning money for months. Dad's face drained of color. Veronica, is this true? His voice wavered, disbelief etched in every word. Veronica tried to backpedal, her expression shifting from fury to panic, but the evidence was undeniable. The truth unraveled, and I could see the weight of realization in Dad's eyes. He seemed to age years in just a few moments. I'm so sorry, Sarah, he whispered, his voice hoarse. I've been such a fool. Just then, the doorbell rang. 2 police officers stood outside, flanked by Aunt Lisa. One officer stepped forward. James Henderson, we need to ask you some questions about financial irregularities in your business. Dad's expression shifted from shock to confusion. What? Who reported this? Aunt Lisa stepped forward, her gaze steady. I did, James. When Sarah told me what was going on, I couldn't just stand by and watch everything crumble. As the officers began questioning Dad, Veronica made a break for it, grabbing her purse and bolting toward the door. But Aunt Lisa, quicker than expected, stuck out her foot, sending Veronica sprawling to the ground. It was the last desperate move in a saga that had spiraled out of control. The aftermath was a whirlwind. Veronica was arrested for fraud, and Dad faced serious legal consequences for his role in the financial mismanagement. As for me, I made the tough decision to move in with Aunt Lisa, leaving the past behind. 2 years later, I'm thriving at a top art school, my talent finally getting the recognition it deserves. As I stand in front of my latest exhibition, surrounded by people who truly appreciate my work, I can't help but reflect on how far I've come. That scared, betrayed girl from Oak Ridge feels like a lifetime ago. I'm stronger now, wiser, and finally free from the toxic people who tried to hold me back. What would you have done if you were in Sarah's shoes? Would you have forgiven your father for choosing his girlfriend over you and sending you away to boarding school? Or would you have cut ties completely? Share your thoughts in the comments below.